Welcome back to This Week. I'm pleased to be joined by the Economic and Community Development Commissioner for the state of Tennessee, Mr. Bill Hagerty. Always nice to see you, sir.
Great to see you again.
You got some bragging to do. We're going to let you do that. Tennessee, the State of the Year for Economic Community Development in 2013, based on, it is Business Facilities Magazine. That's quite an honor. And it also means you've done some pretty good job of attracting business to Tennessee.
It's a terrific honor, Bob, and it's a real validation of the strategy that Governor Haslam put in place back in 2011. We went through an extensive reorganization of our department and really changed the way we brought economic development to the state. And I think today Tennessee has proven to be the new model for economic development across the nation. And I'm very proud of the team that we have. We beat up 49 other states and really are very excited about this.
It cites the top 5 projects in the state, 7,000 new jobs, $3.2 roughly billion worth of new development. That's just the top 5 projects, so that means jobs are coming to Tennessee, new revenue is coming to Tennessee.
We're very excited about our pipeline. This past year we announced over 23,000 new jobs in total. So we have an extensive pipeline ahead of us. I think one of the things we try to struggle with is making clear that pipeline are jobs to come. We've got to clear the land, we've got to build the factories, and then hire the people.
And it continues to happen. Global Conduit, 1,000 jobs in Memphis, a call center there.
Very exciting.
Beretta, just a couple of weeks ago, 300 jobs going to Gallatin. Those are the kinds of jobs, those are the kinds of companies every state probably is drooling over that wants to come to their state.
In fact, when the governor announced Conduit Global in Memphis a couple of weeks ago, he announced the website of the company. There was so much interest in it, the website crashed that afternoon. So there's a lot of interest in these jobs and a lot of excitement about the potential.
Talk about the other side of it, a little bit about incentives. There's some criticism about incentives that the state may be giving too much away. And New York Times says $1.6 billion in incentives in 2012. Business Journal says roughly $600 million worth of incentives was offered to Sears along with the Tennessee Tower for them to come here. They're saying $60 million was given to companies that didn't produce the jobs you had hoped for, maybe as much as $30 million for Eastman Chemical in East Tennessee for 300 jobs, $30 million for Beretta for 300 jobs. Those are big numbers that people go and look back at and so what does this mean? Is Tennessee getting its money's worth for those kinds of numbers?
We're very focused on the return on investment. Governor Haslam has us laser focused on the incentive program. At the same time, incentives are a part of the competitive dynamic across the United States, and Tennessee has to remain competitive. I think, and we've talked about this before, if I'd had my druthers, we would simply lower the corporate tax rate by an amount equal to what the incentives are and stop competing on that basis altogether, because Tennessee has so many wonderful assets to compete on other than incentives. But the incentives do keep us competitive against other states.
The incentives, Jeannie, obviously is out of the bottle. It's part of what you have to do, part of what you compete with. Is it, though, more than just can I offer you the most? Is there more to it than that?
There's a lot more to it. And today we see much more focus on workforce, the availability of qualified workers. And I would say that's changed even during the 3 years that Governor Haslam's been in office. Today, the first thing on a company's list is whether or not we can get high-skilled workers for our more or less advanced technologies.
I talked to the governor about this, and he was actually a little taken aback, trying to figure out exactly what happened. Tennessee, for many, many years, was right there with the national economy, maybe above the national economy, maybe a little below the national unemployment rate. And then for about a year, we fell behind somehow, and unemployment started rising in Tennessee while it went down nationally. Tax revenues were down. I know you've looked at this and were concerned by it. What do you think the problem was? Have we turned a corner with these new jobs and stuff coming to Tennessee? Well, just last month, unemployment did dip in Tennessee, so that's a good sign.
No, the near-term trend is positive, but long-term, we've got to translate the jobs in the pipeline into the employment statistics. And what we're seeing is the lag effect. We've announced over 60,000 new jobs in the past couple of years. Those jobs are just beginning to come on stream right now, Bob. What we're trying to do in this process as well, though, is diversify the economy so that we're not so heavily dependent on one sector or another. Think building products or automotive. When the Fed changes interest rates, you'll see a dramatic shift in those sectors. So we're trying to much more broadly diversify the economy as we fill that pipeline.
We've seen with your office's help growth at General Motors plant in Spring Hill with addition of more workers and more production. We've seen new companies like Beretta coming here. The focus has been on the governor when he came in to grow existing jobs, but you've also been successful in attracting new businesses. Is it a 50-50 focus on your part?
The focus is about 50-50. The results are broader, though, with the existing businesses. The incumbent industry are the lion's share of job growth. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. I hope so. We want to make sure we're doing the best we can to facilitate their expansion right here in Tennessee. At the same time, we're working very hard to bring new industry in here so that those seeds can continue to populate and continue to grow the
How
economy.
important is what the governor is trying to do in regards to the Promise Tennessee, in regards to fulfilling education goals where the more Tennesseans graduate and are ready for jobs that are being brought here? Is that a question that those companies ask you? Can I hire local folks? Are they qualified? And will this help you in your selling of Tennessee?
Bob, you are right on point. The governor has heard this loud and clear. And as I mentioned, the number one question today is the quality and the depth of our workforce. So this new challenge and this new promise for Tennessee is the governor's main effort to try to make sure and ensure that our workforce is ready and up to speed for jobs of the 21st century.
I know that what you do is quiet. You can't let everything out of the bag, but as you look forward to 2014 after a very successful 2013, what do you anticipate? Are you in discussions with companies that you can't maybe talk about? Is there a highlight that you're going to say a year from now, we're going to bring more jobs, we're going to grow this economy more companies are going to want to look at Tennessee, if not come here?
I have every confidence that we're going to have a great year in 2014. At any point, Bob, we have about 350 deals that we're working on. Last year, I think we did 187 transactions. These are new companies coming into Tennessee or large companies expanding. So we have a tremendous amount of activity right now. And with the announcement of Tennessee as State of the Year, even more interest and more focus on what's happening here. So I hope that success will beget success. This pipeline that we've lined up will begin to fall into the unemployment number, and we'll see that begin to shift. And I hope that the governor's diversification strategy really plays into a broad-based lift in the economy that will be less cyclical than perhaps it has been in the past.
Tennessee ECD Commissioner Bill Hagerty, always nice to see you, sir.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Stay with us. This week continues in a moment.